Just another week of video updates here. So I'm going to go through some throwing tips first. So last time we did our whole throwing progression where we talked through the wrist flick and then sticky feet, breaking down, throwing through the ball, power T, throwing, and then shuffle, shuffle, throw. So those are, and then you throw full, and then you break it down. So that's our throwing progression. So we're not going to go through all the details of that, but we're going to talk about some tips for you. So one tip first is to make sure that we're keeping our hand on top of the ball. Okay, so a lot of times when girls are taught to throw and the ball may be too big for them, they might feel like they need to get under it and end up a little bit of shot put or sidearm. So you want to make sure that that hand stays on top of the ball. So when you break, you're staying on top. When you're getting around, you're staying on top. Throwing through the ball, also staying on top of the ball. So that's one tip. Another is to avoid sidearm. And I know that's easier said than done because your body just takes over and you get throwing, but that can cause a lot of arm issues down the road. So you don't want to have any arm issues. You want to make sure that you're keeping your elbow up through the throw. So when I was in college, I had to kind of reinvent the way I threw because after throwing so much every single day, I was getting a lot of arm pain. And there's a lot of overuse injuries with the shoulder, Tommy Johns, things like that, that you can avoid over time if you're able to throw correctly. So you want to make sure that through your throw, you're getting around, getting a good arm circle, and then keeping that elbow up, getting that whipping action, coming down through the throw, not letting it dip down here and push. That causes a lot of extra strain on the elbow. And then a lot of times in transfers up the middle infielders, you might think that they're throwing sidearm, but they're not. They're really just changing their body angle. If you change your body angle, your shoulders are still square, you're making a good throw with your elbow up this way as opposed to this way and throwing sidearm. So save your arm the stress. Another thing is you want to make sure that when you throw, you're not leaving any energy behind. So similar to hitting, when we get our hands and our feet and our bodies through the ball, you want to have the same idea when you're throwing. All right, so you don't want to drag that back foot and leave anything left in the bottom half here. You want to make sure you're turning, you're throwing, and letting your body come through. All right, so we're right here, bring it around, and make sure we're throwing, getting those hips through in a little bit faster action. Obviously, when it's full speed, it'll look a little bit different. But those are your throwing tips for today. All right, now we're going to talk about a little bit of outfield tips. So starting with thinking about the entire relay home, we're going to start with the outfielder first. So last time we talked about outfielders needing to get behind the ball so you can move through it instead of don't just let your body kind of take you back and then fall backwards. All right, so we don't want to be going back with it. We want to get our bodies behind it so that we can run through it and make the throw. Okay, so that's the outfielder. And then another thing too, if you're going to fetch the ball or you're going to catch it on the run, make sure that you're not just catching the ball this way and then kind of walking in a circle getting ready to throw. You want to make sure that you're catching that ball, jab foot, make a good strong plant foot here, and then get ready to throw. We'll go through the different types of outfield throws and setups in another video, along with the crow hop. But for now, that's just the start, is that we're jabbing, making the throw. Next, we're going to talk about the relay person. So that middle infielder that's out there, she's got to be vocal from the start. So she's got to be saying, ball, ball, ball. And then as she's getting ready to receive the ball, she's got to be turning her body so that she has this throwing alley right here. We talk about this being your throwing alley, because a lot of times you want to think about when you catch the ball, you're stepping with your glove foot going towards the ball, similar to like a first baseman or someone receiving a throw on a force. So in this case, you're actually going opposite of that because you need to be thinking about your next throw. So you're catching here, but quickly need to be able to make that throw home to the next base or to the next base. So you're going to be in this good athletic position, ball, 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 ball. And then you're going to be turning your body so that you can receive the ball, then quick, do that, 1 foot, 2 foot, transfer to make that good relay home. All right, and then we're going to talk about the end person in the relay. So whether that's the person at home plate, person at second base, third base, wherever that ball's going, you want to make sure that they're being the loudest. So they're saying the whole time, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4. And that all starts with the catcher directing the infielders and those infielders directing the person catching the relay. So she's got to be very loud, and then she's got to make a good tag and a good application on the person. Okay, so now we're going to talk about tags. So this is important at the end of the relay throw or an infield throw or wherever it might be. So a tag is really important, and Jose Baez from the Chicago Cubs is the king of tags. So go watch a video with Jose Baez, shortstop. I think he's shortstop. He's a middle infielder at least, but he is a great example of the tag. All right, so if this is your base, this is where it is. All right, this is the base. You want to let that ball get as deep as possible. Too many times girls are reaching for the ball and then they have to pull the ball back in. So you want to let that ball travel, let it get super deep, and then just go down. So you want to think about, when I talk to my girls about this, we often talk about that bang bang between the catch and the tag. As quick as possible, wherever it takes you, you need to be able to get that ball and then quickly apply it down. So it's best if it's bang bang. All right, so we think about that ball going in the glove, going right down. Wherever it is, you want to be able to quickly apply the tag. If it takes you up in the air, you want to go up as quick as possible and then down as quick as possible. All right, so you're up in the air to grab it and then quickly back down. All right, so now we're going to talk about some hitting tips. So last time we went through a similar progression as we do with throwing, but we're going to talk again about the similarities between throwing and hitting. All right, so right here, when you think about if you're throwing, you're going through the ball, letting those hips come through, all right, and following through. When you're hitting, you're doing the same thing. You're loading up, getting that body going in one direction, and then you're coming to the ball, bringing it through, follow through. So you want to think about those similarities. So then our hitting tips that we have for today, a drill that we have, I don't have my tee out here with me right now, but one thing we're going to do is we're going to work on one arm drills. So whether that's down on a knee and one leg out in front, or you're standing for these, you want to make sure back control is the most important. So you're isolating one arm, putting one arm behind or one arm on your shoulder. You're going hands to the ball over and over again. Front arm, hands to the ball. All right, then when we go back arm, very important, don't let it dip, don't let it drop. Take that barrel right to the zone. All right, and choke up. If you're using a full regulation sized bat, it's going to be big and it's going to be meant to be swung with two arms, so you want to make sure that you choke up on the bat for a little bit more back control. So right here, have our elbow up, right through the ball. All right, right through the ball. Okay, so front arm again, hands behind, boom. All right, back arm, boom. So that's one drill that you can work on. Another is a simple bat behind the back rotation. So this is one that I learned growing up. We used to use the terminology squash the bug, and that's not necessarily the terminology that you want anymore. We talked about this last time when we want to think about that back knee driving towards the pitcher. All right, so you might gain some ground on this, but that knee is driving towards the pitcher. So to activate that, especially in younger girls, what we're going to do is we're going to have that bat behind the back. We're going to load up just like normal, and then we're going to turn our hips, driving our body forward as much as we can into the ball. So if you have a full bat, I have a little baby bat, but if you have a full bat, you might be able to set up a tee out in front and hit something off of it, just to make sure that we're getting activation out of the hips. All right, and then one more that I have, you can use any kind of barrier that you can find in your house. So what I have here is a chair. Sometimes we use double tees if we're at practice. You might have one tee set up normal height, one tee set up behind it. You want to make sure you don't hit what's in front of you. All right, so this might be set up on my back hip here. I want to make sure that I'm going over that to the zone and through the ball. So whatever it is, just make sure you're going slow enough that you don't whack a chair or anything like that. But load up, attack to it, through the zone. All right, you want to prevent this dipping. Don't let it go down, okay? And then another that we have, you can use basically any fence. So I'm going to use this fence right here that I have in my backyard. We're going to keep the bat about bat length away from us, and you're just going to work on getting your hands through, not casting out and hitting the fence anywhere. So hands through to the ball. All right, so that's our hitting tips for today. All right, so we're just gonna wrap up at the end of our little practice session today. And one of the themes that we used recently in my 10 and under coaching and tournaments was what's important now. It spells out win. So W-I-N, what's important now. So I think that's really important right now, as there's a lot going on in the world, a lot of uncertainty. You just want to make sure that you can take care of what you can control. Okay, so you can control your reactions, how you handle things, how you approach each day with positivity, and how much you take care of yourself. So are you eating right? Are you exercising? Are you practicing softball? Are you working on your schoolwork? Actually, we'll put that in a different order where schoolwork comes ahead of those things. And you know, everybody will have their own priorities, but you want to make sure you pay attention to what's important now. Not thinking too far ahead, too far into the future, but what can I control and how can I make each day great? All right, so get after it.